Hi there, this is Bethany Barnard from Stamping in the Barnyard. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I want to welcome you to 12 weeks to a wow Christmas with Bethany and Lela. Lela is a demonstrator out in California, and I live here in North Florida. And we have corroborated to bring you lots of projects over these past 11 weeks. This is our 11th project of our 12 weeks to a wow Christmas. We've had place settings, we've had the countdown blocks themselves, we've had table decorations, a lantern, a beautiful Christmas card. Last week we showed you how to make some stocking stuffers for furry friends, little cats and dogs, either for your own pets or so that if you are bringing gifts to friends who also have pets that are near and dear to them, you can have a little token in there for those pets as well. The week before that, we did a stocking stuffer for men. And this week, we're concentrating on stocking stuffers for women. And I'm really excited about this project. This box is so beautiful. But what's inside it, you may ask? Well, here, let me show you. So I found these steamers, and you may not know what a steamer is. Lots of people don't when I talk to them about them. But you put these in the shower. They might be called melts, shower melts as well. You don't put them straight into the stream flow of your shower, but you put them to where the mist can gradually release these and they will just all dissolve and go down the drain. But this one is eucalyptus and tea tree. And I found this at Dollar General, as well as these lavender and chamomile ones. You can also make these. I've made them last year. I made them, and that's how I'm familiar with what they are. And I made some lavender ones. There's lots of recipes for these online, but you can get them through Amazon. Melaleuca sells them, and they're easy to get, and they're always individually wrapped, which really helps when you're making a project like this. So I particularly, when I found these at Dollar General, together with the Splendid Day foil paper from Stampin' Up, I thought, oh, these go so well together. And so I was very excited to be able to make this project. Now this DSP is retiring, and I don't even know if it's available by the time we release this video. But I did want to show you that you can use ordinary DSP as well. This is one of our annual DSPs. And it still makes that beautiful fold at the top. So that's great. Once I learned how to make these boxes, you'll see, I couldn't stop. I just loved them. So I am going to show you how to make these, and I hope that I have the success I've been having with these. I did size the paper today in the box today so that it would fit both the steamers, but also with the hope of getting two of them out of one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. So that's going to change the bottom of our box a little bit. I'm trying to see if I have one here to show you. And I think, because otherwise you can only do one. All right, well, you'll see it as we go along. But what you want to do is you want to start with a sheet that's 10.5 inches by 5 3/4 inches. And I will have all these measurements inside my description or below on the description, but it's going to be that in order to be able to understand how to make that top, you probably would have to watch the video. So I will also mark the timestamp of when I start working on the top, but otherwise this is much like an ordinary box. Okay, so I scored it 2.5, 5, 7.5, and 10 inches. And then I turned it sideways and I scored it 2 1/4, 4.5. Okay, and that's all the basic scoring. But then I needed to come in and make a tick mark. I did it first with just using my stylus on my scoreboard at 1 1/4, 3 3/4, 6 1/4, and 8 3/4. And you can see that for the benefit of this video, I did go back over it with a little bit of pen. If it was more accessible, I would have used a pencil so I could erase it later, but I'm okay with this, and I recommend to you though that you would use a pencil so that you could erase it later on. Now, the next thing that you need is, I'm using this doesn't look like the right size. Yeah, here it is. They probably would both work. It's just a case of how far you bring it in. And I might even, well, I'm going to use this one. That's the one I've been using. So it doesn't really matter. In fact, I want you to know that the first time I ever made this box, I just used this sippy lid cup. I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, but Julie DiMatteo is where I found this fold to begin with, and she got it from a German demonstrator, but her dimensions are only for, to put one Ferrero Rocher in it, and I wanted to put these steamers in it. So my dimensions are a little different. So if you want to do that, you're going to need my dimensions to make that work. So what you're going to do, and you really need to give some good crisp folds to this, because we're going to have to see where these folds meet up in order to do the next bit of scoring that we're going to do. So I'm just trying to make that. They kind of disappear with this foil paper. I'm not really sure why. But so what we're going to do, and I recommend that you put a little magazine underneath it for this part. The foam, it kind of pokes through, and on your table you want to get a good score mark, and I find that there's just enough give in a little catalog magazine. So what you're going to do is take your stylus, and I'm putting it right where I made that tick mark, and then I'm pushing my die up against it so I know that that's where this will move, and then I'm coming over to the end where this, it's going to be where they cross here, but at the end, it's going to be the end of this paper and then this fold line. And I need to make sure that they're both up against this die. So then I can go ahead and score that. And I'm going to make all of them in this direction first. It's kind of easier to see where you're going with your, but do you see how I'm moving the die to make sure that it's going to go where I want it to? Okay, and then here, up against that, and then here, and here. And then this last one is going to be here, and then it's got to go here. And now I need to turn it this way and do, let's see, I think I need it to go this way now. So I'm going to start here and put it up against this as well. Put it up there. There we go. Am I happy with that? Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to just do the same thing coming in from the other direction here. So I'm putting this right on that intersection and right here. And then I'm happy with that. And then intersection. Yep, there we go. Oh, I hope I don't think I tore through the paper that time. Haven't torn through the paper yet. Didn't mean to make it sound like I've done that before, but it's always a first, and it's going to be while I'm making a video. Okay, there we go. So, okay, so there, I've done, you can see it now, all these sort of half circles. And what I like to do before I put the box together is kind of help the DSP, I'm going to move this now, help the DSP to fold where I've scored, so that when I go to fold it into the box, it's kind of already knows what it's supposed to do. This one almost looks like it's a little too, I'm gonna wish that was, which one is that? I'm not sure that one went where I wanted it to go, so I'm going to just redo that and make sure. So I have this here, so you do want to check them and make sure you're happy with, and here. Yeah, this is better. Hopefully that will make that. Ooh, I did go through there a little bit. Oh, well, that is the first time for me, you guys. And what you can do is, where you know this is going to be a box fold, you can push this in and bring this around, because this is what it's supposed to look like. And so you can help to see that that's the shape that it's going to make when you come to these corners, like that. Okay. So hopefully you can do this a little bit without the concern that I had with keeping my head out of the video, which I may or may not have succeeded in doing, and getting those score points right. So we're gonna, here we go. See, that looks like it went down a little bit there. I don't think I stayed tangent on that line for all that try, and I think I did that with all of them, so I don't know. Might just be the difference with trying to do that on a video and being further away from the score lines. But we'll see how this comes up, and hopefully you'll at least get the gist of it, of how it works. And maybe we'll be surprised and it'll work out great. I mean, as I said, I've made all those boxes and I've kept every box I've made so far because it's come out nice. Okay, now this is our tag here, so it really only has to come like that. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to do some cutting. And we're going to start by cutting out this long tab, rectangular tab at the end there. And then we're going to cut up here to the first score line. And then the one closest to the tab, we're going to go ahead and cut that in half. And you can just eyeball that. You don't have to measure it. And then you're going to cut this one up. And then we're going to cut this one in half. And then we're going to cut this one up. And only to the score line. There we go. So you can see this wasn't even a straight line, but that's not really going to matter very much. Well, it doesn't matter at all. Not a case of not very much. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so on these two tabs, we're going to just go ahead and miter them a bit. It helps with folding. And then, as I said, too, you can be a lot more precise when you're looking at this without trying to get it on camera at the same time. And there we go. And now, for it to be a square, you should be able to fold this tab in and then glue that tab down by just folding this in half. And just to make sure it's square, it's always a good idea to then push it in and make sure it goes this way too. And it does. So there we go. We've got our square here, right? Now we're going to fold in these two side tabs here. And this is where you're going to see that because of the wanting to get two of these out of one sheet of 12 by 12, this square is not going to come all the way here. You see how it's just going to leave that little bit, but it did save us so that we could get two of these out of one sheet of cardstock. So I hope you understand. It's not a big deal. That's the bottom, right? It's got nothing to do with the top. Let's see how this top's folding in. See how that disappeared? I really feel like if you leave any time at all, these marks disappear. But once it's folded, look at that. That's not too bad, right? That's gonna work. They're almost without fail. Okay, let's get glue in here. In fact, we're gonna open this because we have to put our steamers in there. Okay, so let's get back to this. And so I like to put, now remember this doesn't go all the way across, so I'm not bringing it all the way up to the top. It's about 1/4 of an inch shy of covering the full bottom. If you want to go ahead and use one sheet to get the whole bottom covered, then you're going to want to make those 2.5 inches from the bottom instead of the 2 1/4. That's the difference I did. And I'm gonna, at the end of this, I want to tell you how I made some of these boxes that are a bit bigger, taller, so that you can put 4 of these steamers in if you want to make it more of a substantial gift than just a stocking stuffer. And again, I'm just taking this inside. There we go. And then these beautiful purple, lavender and chamomile. And then we're gonna, you just press on these corners. And so as I said, the first time you might have to help them a little bit, but once they've been kept shut for a while and you can pinch these sides, then that helps them too to make this beautiful design that you're going with. Okay, so the 2 other things that you can do is I use the stitched shaped dies, and I punched out a little circle here, and it's just the other side of this paper. And I'm using the Blackberry Bliss and the stamp set 'Tis the Season. 'Tis the Season, but you can use whatever you have at hand. And I am going to go ahead and glue this on. So I'm going to look for where is the back. I love it when you have trouble finding the back, because that just tells you how, there it is, how well you've done. And matching it all up. Okay, so oops. We're gonna put 'Tis the Season here. There we go. Put my ink pad away before I ruin everything by sticking it in. And then I have this beautiful organdy, glittered organdy white. I just think this always looks pretty and fancy on a package. And then I'm gonna do my usual loop, loop, and strand to measure. Let's get my ribbon scissors. Cut, and that should give me plenty to make a nice, oh look, this happened last week too, where afterwards it had moved a little bit and I didn't notice. So there we are again, straightening that out. And there is sort of an outside to this ribbon, so you want to make sure that glitter's showing on the outside. You could use, I tried the freesia ribbon on this, but I didn't like it. It didn't look quite the same. So I like the white, but there's a few different options in the white that you could try. But I do like this fancy glittered organdy. I can't remember, I think this is in the annual catalog, so you don't have to worry about it retiring. All right, that was kind of a messy way of tying that bow, I think. Let's see. There we go. And then I always try to give myself enough to be able to trim these ends after I've got my bow tied. There you go. See, looks nice. All right, now I'm gonna trim these and get them out of the way. And there we have it. another stocking stuffer for the ladies in your life. Thank you for watching.